Hi everyone, thank you for being here for our presentation. Lucky last of the morning, so bear with me. I'll try and get through it as quickly as I can and hope that I don't go over my 20 minutes. My name's Emma Smith. I am the consumer consultant with the Townsville Hospital Health Service. So we have hospital health services, I believe, in New South Wales. You have health districts, same thing. Before I get started, just acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we're meeting today and pay my respect to their elders past, present and emerging. I also want to acknowledge the people with lived experience who are here and also acknowledge the people with lived experience who contributed to this resource that we're sharing with you today. So a little bit about me. As I said, the consumer consultant with Mental Health Service Group in Townsville. So I'm a mum, a wife, a daughter, a sister, a friend, a colleague, an everyday person. I just so happen to live with mental ill health. So I had my first episode when I was 13 years of age, my first contact with the mental health service at 15, my first diagnosis, continued accessing services until I was 23. So 10 years after my very first episode is when I received the correct treatment plan for myself. So like many people with a lived experience, a long journey to get to the point where we're actually on the right path. Townsville Hospital, from a work perspective, what we do, I'm here with Julie Vandenhull. Julie is our new carer consultant. So Julie has a lived experience as a carer of someone with a mental ill health. We look after our peer workers, so the lived experience workforce. We also coordinate all of the lived experience engagement activities across the mental health service. So we're quite unique that we have a group of people with lived experience who we engage on a regular basis to co-design and collaborate and contribute to different activities within the service. We pay them for their time, we value their time, and they're seen as, an extension of our workforce. They're not technically employed, but they're so important to everything that we do. All of our service development, delivery and review, they're involved in every step of the way. But it is a journey. It's something that we're working on to increase and do better. So this is a project that we think we did so well with, and it's really pushed and changed the way that the service is looking at how we engage people. So we have a group of those representatives who sit in an additional group called the Lived Experience Reference Group, or the LERG. We love anagrams, I apologise. So the LERG is a group of reps who meet on a monthly basis, and they do regular reviews. They give feedback. We have people from the service come and present their ideas, and it's just an opportunity for easy access for feedback. It was raised in that meeting that the recovery journal at our adult acute inpatient unit needed a review. We felt that it wasn't being utilised, it wasn't serving its purpose, and that it was just seen as another piece of paper or document being provided to people on admission. So that was raised by our consumers and carers. We took that to our staff and we said, we want to change this. We want to see something better. The senior management team gave unequivocal support and said, all right, guys, you want to change it? Tell us what you want to see. And they said, put together a working group, 100% consumers and carers, not employed by the service. I was the only employee, as at that time I was still technically a peer worker. And the entire resource was created from start by our consumers and carers. So we got together, we talked about what do we want to achieve with this document, what's the purpose of it? And then from there, it took about 6 months of regular meetings and going through everything until we created the journal. So you have a copy of the journal in front of you. There is an email address at the front. So we do actually provide a copy of this electronically if you would like. We're happy to share it. We don't want to hold on to it and keep it to ourselves. We're more than happy to share that at no cost, obviously. So the journal, once it was completed in the first draft, we took that, the working group took that into the inpatient unit and firstly consulted with our consumers and carers in the unit. We shared it alongside the current journal that was being used, asked, what do you think? Is this an improvement? What do you think we can do better? What do we need to add, remove? Give us as much feedback as possible. Only after we consulted with our consumers and carers did we then consult with our clinical teams. So we then asked the clinicians, okay, just to double check, is this best practice? Have we done anything that's probably out of line? Is there anything that we need to include? And it was really fortunate that we got very minimal feedback from them in terms of changes. So there was nothing we needed to remove, nothing we needed to change. There was a couple of additions. That was it. So they were very happy with the final product, which just goes to show that consumers and carers know what is needed, and we don't go beyond what we need. We know what's best for us. So the final resource is divided into 5 sections. It is primarily provided to our inpatient consumers, our service users. It is partially for inpatient stays, so it has some information about what to do while you're inpatient, questions to ask your doctor, some prompts, know where to get some help if you need. And then, of course, there's other resources throughout which may be useful for some people, may not be for others. It can be taken outside post-discharge and continue to be used. It can be used for further admissions. So we've got your recovery plans, you've got your schedules and appointments and your mood trackers and things like that. And in the back, of course, we have lots of resources, different locations you can go to get some more information and support after you've been discharged. So a flow-on effect from that project of creating that journal, it's then gone on to change the way the service views consumers and carers and the impact that their engagement has on what we're developing. We now review and report on all of our engagement activities and the level at which we're engaging people. I'll talk a little bit more about engagement levels in a minute. We now support engagement at all levels of service development and review. So we have consumers and carers sitting in working groups and in reviews that wasn't happening in the past. The LERG, the Lived Experience Reference Group, now has a strategic plan that they've created independently. That strategic plan has projects that they've developed and that they are working on independently, so similar to this project. We have included that engagement within our policy and procedures. So it's nice and clear, and it's in writing that we are to include our consumers and carers in all of that review. We've increased engagement activities and we have the resources for that. So we've basically been given an unlimited budget, how much we will spend. Our service group has said we will never say no to paying for our consumers and carers to engage, which is amazing. I've never been in a position where I don't have a budget and I've no limit. So that's incredible. And we have consumers and carers engaged in the creation and delivery of education. So we follow the IAP2 engagement spectrum. So this generally talks about the 5 levels of engagement, one being inform. Now, informing engagement is when we have a service who is deciding how they're going to provide information. They decide what information is being provided, who they're providing it to, when, where, how. They have all the power in this situation. There is value there, but the level of power sits purely with the service. The next level up is consultation. So the service is asking for feedback, but again, they're choosing what feedback they're requesting. They're choosing how much information they're giving the consumers and the service users, and they're not making any commitment to whether or not they're going to do anything with that feedback. So that's tokenistic engagement, and that can actually be counterproductive and actually be damaging to our consumers and carers. The next level is involve. So at the involve level, we're starting to make commitments to actually take on board what people are saying. So we're saying, yep, we want to hear what you have to say. We're opening the doors, we're letting you in, and we're committing to take that on board and do something with your feedback. We still consider that placating. Now, the final 2 levels of the spectrum are collaborate and empower. And that's where we get to that really meaningful engagement. So collaboration is working side by side. That's our co-development. It's shared power. And then in our empowering level, we're actually kind of flipping it. It's almost the complete reverse of inform, where the consumers and carers, the service users, are making the majority of the decisions. They have the majority of the power, and they're being supported by the service, and they're really only limited by policy, procedure, and legislation. Otherwise, they're the decision makers in those activities. And that's kind of our aim for majority of our activities. The benefits of those empowering levels of engagement. Our services are tailored to the needs of the service users. It's pretty basic, pretty simple. That can result in increased engagement in care. People are receiving the service they need, so they're going to engage. They're going to come. They're going to come to the service. They're going to be involved in their care. That will result in improved health outcomes for those service users, and it can actually result in a reduced service access and pressure on services. So it has a positive result for both the service user and the service. It can also result in a reduction of trauma experiences, a reduction in involuntary treatments, reduction in restraint and seclusion, and result in a mentally and physically healthy community. So I believe my next slide is a video by one of our consumers who was involved in this project and who has been engaged with our service for a number of years, and they're talking about their experiences as being a lived experience representative. So sound. Sorry, let's just get the sound sorted. Hello. PC volume's up high. Oh yeah, you know. Yeah. Okay, I think you all
I'm starting to consider activities. I feel like they're kind of just trying to guide the conversation and get a specific answer, whereas empowering activities, I can actually share my story and give reasons behind why I am putting an idea forward or why I believe something to be beneficial or beneficial. It kind of feels like I'm not being valued and I'm just a box sitting in a room waiting to be ticked. Like I don't feel like I'm really seen or heard at all, and it's just really, it's really invalidating. It's actually quite triggering because like as someone with trauma, I have a history of being used and stuff, and so if I'm being used just to kind of be like, yeah, we did this, it's, you know, not that nice. And so diagnostic outcomes, I think, would just be basically what it would be without any kind of engagement from the experience perspective, because they're already decided basically what they're going to be doing or what they want to do, and just searching for a particular answer basically. But if you do empowering engagement, then I think that it could open up the doors to a lot of different ideas, different solutions, problems, different ideas for new things that you haven't potentially even thought of, that a consumer or person with experience has actually seen, felt and heard. I think that through co-design and empowering activities, there will be a lot more engagement both in outcomes and in the engagement phase itself, because the information is actually coming from the people that you're treating or trying to address. And so if you're supporting those people or listening to people when they are providing new ideas and stuff, it actually will be targeted towards them, and they might find something helpful that they hadn't before, like I had the recovery journal. I found the recovery journal project quite revolutionary for my kind of engagement, because it was a safe place where I could talk to both the chair and I could also talk to everyone else without feeling like my ideas weren't worth it, or like they were expecting something specific from me and only wanted to hear that thing. They were listening to my ideas and my reasoning behind those ideas, and I wish to share them. And we actually, I think, created a really amazing resource for consumers, because there's so many different perspectives.
Okay, so I've just got some tips to finish up with. So firstly, for our service providers, the service has to make a commitment to ensure that the engagement that they're doing is at that meaningful level, so that collaborative and that empowering level. Our co-design and meaningful engagement has to be embedded into that policy and procedure. And you need a workplace culture where engagement is business as usual. That's probably one of the biggest challenges, is to change culture, and it's a very long journey. The service needs to demonstrate that they value that engagement. So as I said, we pay our consumers and carers for their time. We pay them at the rate that is recommended by Health Consumers Queensland. We ensure that we're supporting them. Our team does the support because we have that lived experience ourselves. So they have support people if they're going to meetings where they might be finding it's triggering some of their past experiences, or it's bringing things up for them. We're available, we're supporting them to make sure that they get that aftercare as well. And guide for service users, how to become more engaged. Get to know about your rights, educate yourself, learn about the service and the system, the health system, as much as you can, and learn about different ways that people can be engaged. Then you want to connect and collaborate with different services, with other consumers and carers. If you need to, get a group together yourself, form a lived experience reference group or an advisory group, and then go to the service and say, hey, we've got a group here. We want to engage. We want to give you feedback. And don't be afraid to remind them of those health service standards. Standard 2, partnering with consumers. It's a standard that we have to meet to reach accreditation. Remind them of that. We're going to help you reach your accreditation goals by advising you and engaging with you. And as I said, there's different health consumer groups. So Queensland, Health Consumers Queensland, New South Wales has a Health Consumers New South Wales. I'm sure the other states have an equivalent of the same. And then probably one of the biggest things is coming with a solutions focus. It can be very easy when you've got lived experience and you've had very negative experiences with the service to come in with that perspective of, I want to change everything. I'm really upset about everything that's happened. And we are very passionate, and that's why we're so important. However, we do have to come in with that, okay, this is my experience, and yes, it was negative, but I'm going to use that to find a positive solution and to make changes for the better. So we want to focus on future growth and be open to other ideas and approaches. So that's it from me. I got through in my 20 minutes, I believe. Yay.
Question or comment from anyone in the audience?
So I think the reason we've been successful with, and this is an ongoing journey, we're not there yet, nowhere near. The reason we've been somewhat successful is because we've had support from our seniors, our senior management team. So we actually sit in the senior management team. We're part of that. We're decision makers at the highest level of the service group for mental health. And our service group director, our director of medicine, they're so extremely supportive of engagement and they understand the value that it brings. And because of that, they're then supporting us to put it into that policy, and therefore it goes down. It's that top-down effect of supporting that cultural change. So they're supporting us to make that change across the service. And then there's also a lot of education, a lot of us getting out there and talking to people and explaining how it actually benefits them. So we go to meetings and say, you know, when you're engaging your consumers and carers, they're actually going to be more engaged in their care. You're going to get better outcomes. It's going to be easier for you and the work you do. So it's a lot of stuff. It's a team effort, and it's a long journey. Yeah.
Excellent. We'll thank our speakers again.